Our story today is about Lamu, a popular Chinese blogger whose tragic end a few years ago shocked all of China. Lamu, born in a humble village in Sichuan province, was a simple girl from a poor family. She captivated a large audience with her genuine kindness, heartfelt sincerity, and deep love for nature. Her warm, unfiltered videos, showcasing her daily life and the natural beauty of her surroundings, resonated with many. However, behind the scenes, Lamu's life was far from idyllic. She met a horrific end at the hands of her once-loved partner, Tong Li. The most chilling part of this incident is that the brutal assault on her was broadcast live on social media, and thousands of her followers could only watch helplessly as the tragedy unfolded. Lamu was born in 1990 in Nyawa, a Tibetan and Chang Autonomous Prefecture in Sichuan Province, China. She was the youngest of 3 children in a very poor family. Growing up with her older sister and stepbrother, she helped her family collect rare medicinal plants, which they sold in local pharmacies for a meager income. After completing only 3 grades, Lamu had to leave school to work with her family, climbing high into the mountains to find rare herbs and flowers. Lamu loved nature deeply, admiring its beauty and drawing strength and inspiration from the mountains. The rugged landscape, with its rich flora, became her playground and classroom. As social media became popular, she saw an opportunity to share her love for nature with a wider audience. She created an account on a Chinese equivalent of TikTok, where she posted short videos showcasing her daily life, household activities, and the beauty of her native province. Her audience adored her for her smile, purity, and almost childlike spontaneity. Unlike many online personalities, Lamu never used makeup or filters. Her videos were raw and authentic, showing her as she was, a hardworking woman with calloused hands and feet, marked by the evidence of her labor. This authenticity endeared her to many, as people found her genuine and relatable. Her content was a breath of fresh air, offering a glimpse into a simple yet fulfilling life connected to nature. Lamu's subscriber count grew steadily as more people discovered her channel. She wasn't just gaining local followers, tourists and people from different parts of the country began to recognize her. They often referred to her affectionately as that sweet mountain girl. Her audience loved her warm personality and the genuine passion she had for nature. Lamu was delighted that her videos resonated with so many people and brought joy to their lives. She continued to showcase the rich flora of her local area, taking her viewers on virtual journeys through the mountains. She would explain the properties of specific flowers and herbs, demonstrating how to collect them and use them safely. Her detailed and educational content made her a beloved figure among her followers, who appreciated not just her knowledge but also her sincerity and connection to the natural world. As her fame grew, so did the admiration and gratitude from her ever-expanding audience. Despite her public happiness, Lamu endured years of suffering at the hands of her abusive husband, Tang Lu. She avoided discussing her personal life but suffered beatings and humiliations. Lamu's private life was starkly different from the cheerful persona she displayed online. Born in 1990, Tang Lu grew up in Sichuan province in a modest family. His parents spoiled him, and he showed signs of greed and narcissism from an early age. He quit school at 12 and started working as a courier, keeping all the money for himself. Tang fell into criminal activities and aimed to earn respect and wealth in the criminal underworld. Tang's manipulative and violent behavior soon became evident in his marriage to Lamu. She bore the brunt of his frustrations and anger, enduring physical and emotional abuse. The vibrant and joyful facade she presented to her followers hid the pain and fear she experienced at home. Lamu's reluctance to share her struggles was partly due to her cultural background, where discussing personal issues, especially marital problems, is often frowned upon. Despite her efforts to keep her suffering hidden, the signs of her distress occasionally surfaced in her videos, where astute viewers noticed the sadness behind her eyes and the unspoken pain in her expressions. Her family and close friends were aware of the abusive relationship but felt helpless, as Lamu continued to endure the violence silently. The contrast between her public and private life was a tragic testament to her strength and resilience, as she continued to bring joy to others while grappling with her own suffering. Lamu and Tang met when they were both just 17. Tang was enchanted by her beauty and kindness. He courted her earnestly, showering her with attention and affection. Lamu, believing she had met her Prince Charming, quickly fell for his charms. Their love story blossomed, and despite concerns from their parents, they married in 2009. Initially, married life seemed blissful. Lamu believed she had found true happiness with Tang. However, this happiness was short-lived. Tang soon returned to his unlawful activities and alcohol, which transformed his behavior. The man who once seemed so loving and kind became crude and aggressive. The fairy tale romance that Lamu had envisioned quickly turned into a nightmare. Tang's involvement in crime and his addiction to alcohol brought out a violent side that Lamu had never seen before. The love and warmth he once showed were replaced with anger and brutality. Lamu's dream of a happy marriage was shattered, and she found herself trapped in a life filled with fear and pain. Conflicts in their home became a daily occurrence, making life increasingly difficult for Lamu. Even when Lamu became pregnant, Tang did not change his abusive behavior. He continued to treat her cruelly, showing no concern for her or the unborn child. When their son was born, instead of bringing joy and unity, Tang used the baby as a tool for manipulation and blackmail. He threatened to take the child away if Lamu ever thought of leaving him, trapping her in the toxic relationship. Lamu endured this nightmare silently, keeping her suffering to herself. In 2012, her struggles intensified when her mother passed away. This loss was a heavy blow, adding to her already overwhelming responsibilities. Despite the grief and the increasing burden, Lamu continued to climb the mountains to collect herbs. Her work became her only solace, a way to momentarily escape the harsh reality of her home life. She found a sense of peace in nature, drawing strength from the beauty around her. The mountains, with their tranquil landscapes and fresh air, became a refuge for Lamu. She persisted, not just for her own survival, but for her child and the memory of her mother. Through her dedication and resilience, Lamu continued to support both families, showing remarkable strength in the face of relentless hardship. In January 2020, Lamu faced yet another harrowing episode of abuse and made the courageous decision to leave her husband. Taking her sons with her, she returned to her parents' home and initiated divorce proceedings. The court awarded custody of their children, with the elder son remaining with his father. Despite this separation, Tong soon adopted a new strategy, feigning remorse and convincing Lamu to reconcile and remarry him. Initially hopeful for a fresh start, Lamu believed in Tong's promises of change. However, this renewed union soon shattered as Tong's abusive tendencies resurfaced. The cycle of mistreatment and manipulation resumed, leaving Lamu devastated and disillusioned. On the fateful evening of September 14, 2020, Lamu engaged in a live stream to connect with her loyal followers. Little did anyone anticipate the horror that would unfold. In a sudden and terrifying turn of events, Tong stormed into the room where Lamu was broadcasting. With shocking brutality, he drenched her in gasoline and set her ablaze before the eyes of her unsuspecting audience. The live broadcast captured the unimaginable act, plunging viewers into a state of shock and disbelief. Lamu's father and stepbrother rushed to her aid, desperate to extinguish the flames and rescue her from the engulfing fire. Tragically, their heroic efforts were hindered by the old, wooden structure of the house, which collapsed under the intense heat, trapping Lamu inside. The harrowing incident marked a devastating end to Lamu's life, sending shockwaves across China and beyond, as the senseless violence was witnessed by thousands who could only watch in horror and helplessness. After 2 harrowing hours, firefighters managed to quell the raging inferno that engulfed Lamu's home. Amidst the charred debris, they discovered Lamu barely clinging to life. With over 90% of her body consumed by flames, her survival seemed nothing short of miraculous. Urgently, she was whisked away to the hospital, where a desperate struggle to save her began. News of Lamu's tragic plight spread swiftly among her devoted followers, who rallied together in a remarkable display of solidarity. Within just 1 hour, they mobilized enough funds to cover her extensive medical expenses. Despite the overwhelming support, Lamu's condition remained critical. For 2 agonizing weeks, doctors and loved ones alike fought tirelessly by her side, hoping against hope for a miraculous recovery. Yet, tragically, Lamu succumbed to her grievous injuries without ever regaining consciousness. Her untimely death marked the heartbreaking conclusion to a life that had touched so many, leaving behind a legacy of resilience, courage, and the enduring power of community support. The swift hand of justice moved to action following the horrific attack on Lamu. Within a day, Tong was apprehended by law enforcement officials. During the trial, Tong's mother offered a staunch defense of her son, pleading for leniency. However, the court deliberated firmly, finding Tong guilty of intentionally snuffing out Lamu's life in a brutal manner. The judge's ruling was severe and decisive. Tong was condemned to death for his heinous crime. In July of 2022, the sentence was carried out, marking the culmination of a legal process fraught with grief and anguish for Lamu's loved ones and supporters alike. In the aftermath of Lamu's tragic death, her family found strength in rebuilding their shattered home. Despite the sorrow, her sons faced an uncertain future under the care of their paternal grandparents, navigating life without the loving presence of their mother. Her tragic demise serves as a poignant lesson, highlighting the grim consequences of domestic violence and the urgent need for support and intervention. Lamu's story compels us to reflect on the fragility of life and the resilience of the human spirit.